Well, our speaker today, Sheila Mayer, has been a licensed Unity teacher since 2013 and a student of life throughout eternity. Her childhood home in Eastern Ontario gave her strong ties to community, spirituality, and nature. At university, her spiritual journey became very eclectic until she came home to Unity nearly 30 years ago. Our musician today, Nelson, has been sharing music with children of all ages for over 50 years. From his weekly gig with one-year-olds to Christmas caroling to his 1,200 plus songbook repertoire, you choose the song, to his own personal emotive guitar compositions, Nelson brings people together in the joy of music. Nelson will now treat us to his version of Dandelion Blues before we hear Sheila's message, What If It Was Easy? Over to you, Nelson.
Thank you. What if it was easy? What if it was easy? What if it was easy? Wouldn't even have to try. You may play your flute or pluck your strings to make the music flow. Perhaps you will sit by a while it all comes through to your soul. Just maybe you'll hear magic sounds that call you to your heart. And gently you may follow them down, sing a harmony part. What if it was easy? What if it was easy? What if it was easy? Wouldn't even have to try. And I do believe it's easy. Do believe it's easy. Do believe it's easy now, and I don't even have to try. If when the moon's a toothy grin, you meet a whirling wind, and twisting, turning, going nowhere, you forget where you came in. There is no cause to worry or be sorry that you came. Just laze along for just a little while, come back to your name. What if it was easy? What if it was easy? What if it was easy? We wouldn't even have to try. And I do believe it's easy. Do believe it's easy. Do believe it's easy. Lord, Lord, don't even have to try. Over you, Sheila.
Yay, that was so awesome. Oh my God, that was so fabulous. Yeah, and I touched my screen, so I'm gonna have to share it again. Sorry, folks. Whoops. Why did that not work? Let's try that again. What if it was easy? There we go. Okay, it can be easy now. Awesome. So what if it could be easy? How easy are we willing to let it be? Sawabona, everyone, reaching across space and time to connect with you heart to heart and mind to mind, so that we co-create together. And I trust that you'll hear something in what I have to say that resonates for you and serves you. And yeah, bringing forth my best me to call forth your best me, and back and forth. Yes. So where are you at with your intentions for the year? You know, we're a month into the new year. Are you someone that doesn't set New Year's resolutions and just said, no way? And if by New Year's resolutions, you mean the long to-do list that never happens, that sort of give New Year's resolutions a bad rap, then I wholeheartedly agree. Don't do that. But if by resolutions or New Year's intentions, as I prefer to call them, if we're talking about knowing what your big dream is that you're living into, knowing what your desires are, knowing what your theme for the year is, perhaps you did a white stone ceremony with unity here. If that's the kind of intention we're talking about, then I wholeheartedly encourage you that if you haven't done that, that you go ahead and do that. You've still got a little bit of New Year, a little bit of January left to do that. And maybe you're not in that space. Maybe you did do that and you had your intentions, and maybe they got run over by life. And you know, that rabbit that's off to a great start and then somehow you crash and burn. Or maybe you're in that space of, you know, my bones are dry and my hope is lost and I'm feeling like just really cut off and disillusioned and frustrated. Or maybe you're in the space of, yeah, slow and steady, taking the steps, doing the process, trust in the process, I'm in there. Or maybe you're going, oh yeah, I'm doing great. Regardless of where you're at, what if life could be easier? And a fulfilling life could be easier. From my experience, Unity Principles is a great way to make everything easier. And so just a quick review of what these are. And these may be phrased a little bit different than you're used to seeing them, but the essence is still there. It's just focusing on a slightly different aspect of it. So principle number 1, one power, one presence, one benevolent wholeness. Principle number 2, the I or you, here it's speaking for yourself. We are each an expression of that one whole benevolence. And principle number 3, the law of resonance or the law of frequency. You might know it as the law of attraction or the law of mind action. And 4 is divine align. You might know it as, yes, prayer works. And principle number 5, taking action. We have to put feet to our prayers. So what if it really was easy? Would it still be fun if it was really easy? I mean, if you just, you know, thought of something and it manifested instantly, would it still be fun? Have you ever done puzzles that are too easy for you? And how long does it keep you engaged? Would it still count? You know, like sometimes you feel like if it came too easy, it really doesn't count. It doesn't give you that sense of satisfaction. Would I still grow? So that idea of it's, you know, our difficulties that actually push us to our edge, that actually help us to grow. Can we grow and still have it easy? Would I still value it if it was easy all the time? Or would I take it for granted? And how many things can you rattle off the top of your head that you go, ooh, maybe I do already take things for granted that are coming easy? And based on your answer to all of those questions, then you can ask, do I really want it with grace and ease? Or how much grace and ease am I willing to let into my life? Am I willing to let it be easier? You know, with that balance of challenge and ease. And what might that look like? So what I'd like to talk about today or explore today are some ways of letting more grace and ease into our lives. And with that idea of one benevolent, one wholeness, all of these things are possible. Everything is possible. Every question has an answer and every problem has a solution. There is one benevolent wholeness, so it's all there. And it's like, am I willing to let me come to it or it come to me with grace and ease? And one of the ways that we can help the grace and ease is to know what our North Star is, to have a North Star, to have a soul desire. What is my soul calling me into? And just being willing to live into that question, not with any anxiety, should, have to, supposed to, but just, what if it could be fun while I'm doing it? Like if each of us is that divine expression, if each of us is that piece of the great wholeness, we are each God choosing to be here and choosing to have experiences and choosing to live into life. So wrapping our heads around the idea that we're allowed to have soul desires, welcome to our purpose for being here. Biblically, Jesus said, come to me. My way is easy. My yoke is easy and the burden is light. And the reason for that is because it's what we want anyway. It's what our soul and soul desire is. Have you ever noticed if you're doing something you want to do, it feels easier, even if it has some difficulty or challenge to it? And Jesus also said, ask and it's given. So as we're developing that soul desire, there's sort of two schools of thought on it. Catherine Ponder and Eric Butterworth. One was East Coast. Eric Butterworth was East Coast. Catherine Ponder was West Coast. And these two Unity authors sort of took a different perspective on it. Eric was all about generalize. God knows what you want. Just tap into the feelings that feel good. As long as you're working on raising your frequency and feeling good and leaning into taking the steps that present themselves, you're golden. You'll live into your dreams because you have to. The universe principle number 3, the law of mind action will draw you forward into your dreams. Catherine Ponder was the opposite of get more specific and more specific and more specific. Know what you want. And, if it turns out you get it and that wasn't what you wanted, you prayed it into your life, pray it out of your life. It's practicing and learning how to manifest consciously. And I find that it really doesn't matter, like both have a place. And if you want to dive into getting clarity around soul desires and the difference between soul desires and ego desires, these authors are wonderful. And when you get your North Star clear, when you get your soul desire clear, it makes life easier. What's easier to cut with? And this is not a trick question, guys. A knife or a spoon? You can even put it in the chat. I can't check now. I can't see the chat now, but I'll look later. And if anybody thinks the spoon is easier to cut with, I invite you to demonstrate it later, because I found that cutting with a knife is way easier. And having your soul desire clear and concise and conscious is that cutting edge that draws into manifestation, that makes manifesting easier for all the same reasons. Clear is clear. If we're clear in what we want, the universe is clear in how to respond to us. When we clear on what we want, decisions become easier and our focus becomes sharper and clearer, so that the extraneous stuff and the distractions just all fall away, which again, reduces the clutter in our life and just makes everything so much easier. The North Star and the soul desire that is our divine essence of principle number 2, we need to know our big why. Why do we want that? And the reason we need to know our big why is because when we know why we're doing it, we can face any challenge with more ease. That going back to that idea of what's easier to do, something that you know why you're doing it or something you don't know why you're doing it. Do you remember as a kid going, I have no idea why I'm doing this? And you can't even to wrap your head around, why am I learning this? Why am I learning math? Why am I learning calculus? And if you don't know a why, it's hard to make yourself do the process and take the steps. But if you know your why, and you can see the joy on the other end of it, so that you can let that joy pull yourself into it, it becomes so much easier. So, and it's important that it be your why, and your soul desire. Principle number 2 is all about claiming our sovereignty and knowing who we are, so that and if we don't, we will be living other people's desires and other people's intentions. And they need to be our whys and our soul desires if we want it to get in, if we want ourselves in alignment and want to make things easier. Tapping into the feeling of having it, having experienced it, that getting out ahead of our desire into the space of, oh, that is so good, and just visualizing what it's like to have, or have, thinking of your desire in future terms, looking back as a memory. It's so good. I can remember back when I didn't have it, and now I've got it, and I love the journey, and oh wow, it feels so good now, that whatever that desire is. And those feelings are what we dump into or take to unity principle number 3, which is the vibration. Know the cost of not doing it, of not embracing your dream, of not living into it. Imagine that sitting in your rocking chair with the regrets of not having lived this, done that. You're going to be X number of years older by then anyway. Would you not have rather, stepped into what those dreams were, or what those desires were? And you want that soul desire, it will be in alignment with your values. So it will make your heart sing. And again, knowing these whys, just when something comes up and distracts you or wants to take you in another direction, the louder your why is, the brighter your North Star is, the easier the decision to, make an authentically true decision for yourself. I don't know about you, but I like easier decisions where it's not wishy-washy. So the way this works then, our beliefs and our emotions are the tone of the bait that goes on the hook. And faith is the line that we cast into the ocean of pure potential. And imagination is what hooks an idea or a faith. And faith then is that crystallizing of it, that reeling it in, that pulling it into manifestation, that crystallization down into form. And it starts as like a stronger and stronger idea with more and more concrete details, and the step-by-step hows start to come into focus. It's rarely ever the whole picture. Usually it's just the next step that needs to be taken. And those emotions and thoughts that are the bait on the hook, if we put negative thoughts and emotions, or say ideas of it having to be difficult, onto the hook, that's the kind of fish we're going to hook. That's what we're going to catch. The line and the hook, even the bait, doesn't care what the bait is or what kind of fish it's attracting. It just is the bait, is the frequency that catches the fish. And so being conscious of what frequency, what bait we're putting onto our hook as we cast our line into the ocean of possibility and potential, gives us opportunity to make life easier, just by choosing beliefs in grace and ease, choosing beliefs in serendipity, choosing beliefs in living the miracle zone, choosing to believe in our principles, because we can then lean into those principles. So that is what that third principle is all about, is resonant frequency. So when we become conscious of what we're believing and work on those beliefs to make them resonant, life gets so much easier and better. And Charles Fillmore taught the 12 powers. I mentioned the two, that faith and imagination. Zeal makes a wonderful addition to the bait hook that we're casting out there. And we can call on all of our 12 powers to flavor that hook and to give us the strength to stay with it and reel in that fish, whatever that fish is. That becomes the hard work, if you want to call it hard work, or you can label it as the fun and easy part, because it is all the internal work of frequency. So then the fourth principle is divine align. This is where we don't have to rely all on our own physical resources that we have, at first appearance. This is where we tap into the divine. We pray, we meditate, we're mindful so that we're conscious and aware of what frequencies we're putting out and how we're approaching things. Mindful of our thoughts, mindful of how we're being. We can become more and more embodied, tapping into the wisdom of our body, that gut feeling that guides us, for intuition. All of those things help us to become divinely aligned, to allow and flow. We can also leverage nature's cycles for divine alignment. For example, the full moon, going from the time going from full moon to new moon, where the moon is getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and smaller, the great time to release, compost, forgive. And you can connect with that energy and just kind of ride the wave. You're tapping into a flow that is so much bigger than you. And likewise, the new moon then for germinating, growing, and manifesting. And the lunar cycle is just one. You can also tap into the daily, the cycle of day and night. You can tap into the cycle of the seasons. You can tap into the cycle of the religious holidays. Nature runs on cycles. Find a cycle that resonates with you, that is where you're working at, and go with that flow. I love how the principles are not unique or separate or in order. They're all holographic and integrated. So the reason this works is because there is only one power and one presence, which is the first principle. When we choose not to align with our North Star, where, sometimes our dreams can just look too big, or it can just feel, you have no idea how you could possibly do this, or there's all kinds of reasons that we neglect, abandon, set aside our dreams. And principle number 4 is where, when we tap into spirit, by whatever name you call it, universe, high self, whatever, will call us home to those dreams, because that is where our joy and our life live. The story from the Bible, Ezekiel 37:8, where God calls Ezekiel to the valley that was full of bones, and he was commanded to preach to them, and life, the flesh was put onto the bones and they came to life. This is where we're calling upon our higher self to, bring life into that, our abandoned creativity, our neglected dreams. And if you're not a Bible person, the same lesson is available from native traditions, some form of Laloba, the wise woman, the wolf woman. It's the same thing. She is the woman in the desert who sings life into the bones. Bring me the bones of your forgotten intuitions and your abandoned dreams, and I will sing flesh unto your bones. And that singing the flesh onto the bones, that is that alignment with the divine. Go slow to go fast. Take baby steps. Stop chasing the dream and allow it to pull you. Gently be consistent, gentle, and persistent. That's principle number 5, is taking actions. It doesn't happen on its own. We have to take the steps, but we can choose to make them gentle, and we can choose to take them one at a time. Don't ever just make a bed, or do chores. Let them be a step onto your bigger dream. The woman that built the hotel chain, I think it was the Hilton, She and her husband were, one working in the kitchen and the other as a chambermaid. And she said, I never made a bed. I was always building a hotel chain. Another man who said, I didn't mortar a brick today. I am building a garage. So keeping the bigger picture in mind while you're taking the little steps. Don't make dinner nourish the temple that's living into the experience of your big dream. And the hardest move in yoga is showing up on the mat. Anybody who's ever run into their own personal resistance knows this. A great book is The War of Art, and how to overcome that inner resistance. And it's in the overcoming of the resistance that life gets easy. And taking that idea of showing up to the divine, opening to the possibility that it can be easy. We're going to turn to Nelson now with Whispering Hope. And I invite you just to settle into your chair and hear the music, take it in, and feel into where you can allow more grace and ease in your life as you live into and claim your dreams.
Soft as the voice of an angel, breathing a lesson unheard. Hope, the gentle persuasion, whispers her comforting word. Wait till the darkness is over. Wait till the tempest is done. Hope for the sunshine tomorrow, after the shower is gone. Whispering hope, oh how welcome thy voice, waking my heart in its sorrow, rejoice. If in the dusk of the twilight dim be the region afar, will not the deepening darkness brighten the glimmering star? Then when the night is upon us, why should the heart sink away? When the dark midnight is over, watch for the breaking of day. Whispering hope, oh how welcome thy voice, waking my heart in its sorrow, rejoice.
Breathing into that whispering hope, acknowledging the one power and one presence. And as you breathe, settle into it. Feel the support of the earth and the chair beneath you. With your breath, feel life breathing you. One wonderful, loving, benevolent power. And you are a part of it. As you settle into it, I invite you just to open heart and mind the question, what am I being called into? Where is my joy? What is it that Spirit has in mind for me? What are my deepest soul's desires? And if you know what that is, and it comes with the pang of guilt or suffering or pain or whatever associated with it because it has been set aside, neglected, abandoned. Breathe into the possibility of forgiving yourself and allowing Spirit to breathe life into those dreams again. Let Spirit meet you wherever you are. I invite you to take the next few moments in silence, open and receptive. Feel the love and celebration that the universe has for you just showing up, just opening to the possibility and the potential. It's like the universe is saying, yes, 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 this and so much more. Stick with it, hold the line, reel it in, and have fun with the journey. Welcome, welcome, dear soul. I am here and supporting you. Know that this wonderful space is available at any time. In loving gratitude for deeper awareness, more possibility, rich joy. Amen.
Thank you so much for that most enlightening and practical talk, Sheila. That was wonderful. We really need to hear that message over and over again.
Me too.
Yeah, we do need to hear it over and over. And it was wonderfully done. And Nelson, thank you so much for your delightful songs. They add. You made it sound easy.
My pleasure.
And now it's